One huge question is already taking over DC fans. After the new Superman that changed the entire game, what is going to be with Supergirl? Let's see.
Superman just made history. James Gunn's DCU reboot opened to massive critical acclaim, bringing hope back to superhero cinema. But here's the question nobody's asking. What if Supergirl is actually better? Not just good, not just successful, better. On June 26, 2026, Millie Alcock's Kara Zor-El hits theaters in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And based on everything we know, this might be the DCU film that changes everything. Here's why Supergirl could outshine her cousin's movie. The source material advantage. Let's start with the foundation. Superman drew inspiration from All-Star Superman but took thematic inspiration, not a direct adaptation. Supergirl. Woman of Tomorrow is adapting one of the most acclaimed comic runs of the past decade, the 2021 to 2022 Tom King and Bill Quist Evely series, and it's adapting the actual story. When the film was announced in January 2023, copies of the comic sold out on Amazon within days. James Gunn had to work with DC Comics to print more copies to meet demand. The comic is dark, mature, and emotionally devastating. It's not Superman but female. It's a completely different tone and character arc. A flawed hero in a genre that needs one. Here's where things get interesting. At a recent press conference, James Gunn said something that should make everyone sit up and pay attention. A lot of times, for some reason, our female superhero leads are just so much more perfect than our male. Tony Stark and Star-Lord are such messes, and yet that isn't always the same thing for our female superhero leads. Seeing somebody who was just so imperfect and such a mess, that's really what spoke to me. Millie Alcock echoed this, saying, "I think what Supergirl represents for young women, especially, is that you can be flawed. You don't have to be perfect in order to come to some sort of internal self-resolution." This is the key difference between Supergirl and Superman. Superman was raised by loving parents in Kansas. He had a normal childhood. He learned kindness, humility, and hope from Ma and Pa Kent. Kara? She spent the first 14 years of her life on a chunk of Krypton, drifting through space, watching everyone around her die in terrible ways. As Gunn explained, she watched everybody around her die, so she's a much harsher and more kept-up Supergirl than we've been used to this far. Superman is hope. Supergirl is trauma trying to become hope. And in 2026, audiences might connect more with the latter. The tone shift that could define the DCU. Craig Gillespie, the director of Supergirl, revealed something crucial in an interview. When James and I met, I said, "How much do I have to adhere to Superman in this world?" He was like, "We're approaching this like everyone is its own graphic novel. You get your stamp on it and your style and your vision. They are so different in tone. Supergirl won't feel like Superman Part 2. The first poster already signaled this. Superman's tagline was 'Look up.' Supergirl's poster graffitied it to say, 'Look out.' Not hopeful, threatening." Director Craig Gillespie described Kara as having a rebellious spirit. She's got a lot of armor and she uses her humor and her cynicism to protect herself. There's a real punk quality to it. While Superman soars through bright skies, saving people with a smile, Supergirl travels across the galaxy on a quest for revenge. This isn't Marvel's optimism. This isn't DC's traditional heroism. This is something darker. Jason Momoa's Lobo, the X Factor. Here's the wild card. Jason Momoa as Lobo. Lobo wasn't in the original comic. He's a Gunn addition, and it might be brilliant. Momoa texted Gunn immediately after casting, "Lobo, baby," with capital letters and 10 million exclamation points. Momoa campaigned to play Lobo for years. Now, after 2 Aquaman films, he's finally got the role he always wanted. Lobo is crude, violent, and darkly comic, the antithesis of traditional superhero values. Pairing him with a traumatized, cynical Supergirl creates dynamic tension that Superman's film doesn't have. Superman's supporting cast was classic and expected. Supergirl's got a genocidal bounty hunter along for the ride. The Guardians of the Galaxy comparison. Critics and fans have noted that the Supergirl trailer feels like Guardians of the Galaxy. Some see this as a problem. Others see it as the film's greatest strength. James Gunn called it a big science fiction epic film and described it as a space adventure. The film travels across multiple alien worlds, red sun planets, yellow sun planets, bizarre landscapes. Gunn himself said, "It is fun watching the movie because she's going in and out of these planets, red planets and yellow planets. This scope is bigger than Superman's Earthbound story. While Clark saves Metropolis, Kara's traveling the cosmos. Visually, narratively, and tonally, it's a different beast. Millie Alcock, the performance that could define a generation. Here's the thing about Millie Alcock. She's not a household name yet. David Corenswet had Pearl, Hollywood, and major visibility before Superman. Alcock's biggest role? Young Rhaenyra Targaryen in House of the Dragon, a role she left after a few episodes. But James Gunn saw something. He said, "Strangely, Millie was the first person I brought up to Peter for this role, well over a year ago. I was watching House of the Dragon and thought she might have the edge, grace, and authenticity we needed." When Alcock put on the suit for the first time during filming on Superman, producer Chantal Nong started crying. Alcock recalled, "She just kind of did the silent sob. That's not a reaction to a costume. That's a reaction to a performance. If Alcock delivers what early reports suggest, she could become the definitive superhero performance of this generation. Not Corenswet, not anyone else. The risk factor. Here's where it gets complicated. Some fans are already worried. A recent Screen Rant article titled, "James Gunn's new Supergirl confession just killed all of my hype for the movie," highlighted concerns about visual faithfulness to the comic. The complaint? The film's aesthetic doesn't match Bilquis Evely's stunning artwork from the source material. Gunn responded by saying they captured the core of the book, but not necessarily every visual detail. Is that a problem? Maybe. Maybe not. Gunn also said All-Star Superman was the guiding light for Superman, but the film didn't adapt its narrative. It adapted its themes. If Supergirl does the same, captures the emotional core without replicating every frame, it could still work. But it's a risk, and risks can backfire. Why Supergirl might actually be better. Let's summarize the case. 1. Stronger source material. Woman of Tomorrow is one of the best Supergirl stories ever written. It's recent, acclaimed, and emotionally rich. 2. A flawed protagonist. Kara's trauma, cynicism, and armor make her more relatable than Superman's inherent goodness. 3. Tonal differentiation. This isn't Superman Redux. It's a dark, spacefaring revenge quest with punk energy. 4. Jason Momoa's Lobo, a wildcard character played by an actor who's wanted the role for a decade. 5. Millie Alcock, an unknown actor with everything to prove, and early reactions suggest she's delivering. 6. Scope. Intergalactic adventure across alien worlds beats Earth-based heroics. 7. Thematic depth. Trauma, revenge, flawed heroism, and self-forgiveness resonate in 2026. Superman gave us hope. Supergirl might give us catharsis. Will Supergirl be better than Superman? We don't know yet, but here's what we do know. It has every ingredient to be something special. A darker tone, a traumatized hero, a spacefaring adventure, Jason Momoa as Lobo, and a breakout performance from Millie Alcock. Superman succeeded by being traditional, hopeful, and grounded. Supergirl might succeed by being none of those things. If it works, it won't just be a good DCU movie. It could be the movie that defines what the DCU is capable of when it takes risks. June 26th, 2026. That's the date. Look out. Do you think Supergirl will be better than Superman? Or is Superman untouchable? Drop your honest opinion in the comments. No wrong answers. Hit that like button if you're hyped for Supergirl, and subscribe for breakdowns, theories, and reactions when the film drops.
What do you think about this new Supergirl? Is she convincing you? We're gonna need to see the movie to understand if she's convincing. I'm a little skeptical, but we'll see. Okay, if you liked our content, please subscribe and comment. We love to know what you think about her. See you soon.